Congratulations on becoming an S-Corp. I know you are excited to save taxes with an S-Corp, but now what? What is my responsibility as the owner of an S-Corp? Now, I don't want you to worry because guess what? You're in the right place. I am going to explain to you the answers to the now what question you may have in your head. So sit back and take notes. Oh, before I go any further, I just want to interrupt this message to say, please like and subscribe to my YouTube channel. I hope you find this information helpful. All right, let's get back into the message. All right, bye. One of the key things to remember is that as an S-Corp, you are separate from your business. Unlike a single member LLC, you and your business were the same. You filed all of your business income and expenses on your individual tax return as a Schedule C filer, which is typically due at April 15th. But now as an S-Corp, the two are completely separate. So for your reference, the S in S-Corp refers to what is called Subchapter S of the Internal Revenues Code, under which this type of corporation is taxed. This is why being an S-Corp is considered a tax designation and not a legal designation like a limited liability company. One of the unique things about an S-Corporation is that it is considered a pass-through entity. So you may have heard that term before, so let me expound. It's like a hybrid business structure that combines elements of both a traditional corporation, which is like a C-Corp, and a partnership. Unlike C corporations, S-Corps do not pay federal taxes at the corporate level. Instead, income and deductions and credits flow to the individual shareholders like yourself who report these items on their personal tax return. This helps avoid what is known as double taxation. As an S-Corp, in some cases, you do have to pay state taxes when you file your business tax return. This tax is typically calculated based on what is known as gross revenue. As the owner of the S-Corporation, you have to file what is called a Form 1120 by March 15th, even if the business has no operation in that year. You are still required to file a zero tax return. If additional time is needed, the company can file an extension. The extension allows for a 6-month period, extending the deadline to September 15th. It's important to note that while the extension gives you more time to file, any taxes owed are still due by the original due date, which is March 15th. Here are some things that I also want you to take into consideration, right? So get your notepad. Number 1, do not commingle your income and expenses. As an S corporation, you should have what is a separate bank account from all things related to your business. Instead of clients paying you in your personal name or to your personal account, you need to ensure you switch everything to a business account. What makes the process easier for you to track business and expenses is to utilize tools like QuickBooks to reconcile your transactions. As an S-Corp, you are required to have your books and records in order. So now this segues into point number 2. As you know, one of the benefits of being an S-Corporation is that you avoid self-employment taxes of 15.3% on your entire net profit. I will expound upon that a little bit more in a few. But in essence, since you are avoiding self-employment taxes, the IRS requires that S-Corporation owners who provide services to the business pay themselves what is called a reasonable salary. This can be around 30% of your net income. In other words, if you actively participate in your day-to-day operation of the business, it is necessary to compensate yourself with a reasonable salary via payroll. Reasonable salary is based on someone in your industry and service would be paid. So if you worked in a bakery and the baker got paid this particular amount based on standard, that's what you need to pay. It doesn't have to be exact, but it shouldn't be too low to cause a red flag to the IRS. We typically set our clients up with payroll service to help with the quarterly and annual filing for payroll taxes and the issuance of W-2. You can also take what is known as a distribution, which is point number 3, as an S-Corp or owner's draw. This is when you withdraw money from the business periodically to your personal account. One of the great things about an S-Corp is that you can take both salary and distribution, which helps with payroll taxes. As mentioned, an S-Corporation helps eliminate self-employment taxes on your entire net profit. As an employee of the business, you do have to pay payroll taxes on your wages. Self-employment and payroll taxes both cover Social Security of 12.4% and Medicare tax of 2.9%, which equals 15.3%. The major difference, though, is as a W-2 employee of the business, you only pay half of the tax on your wages only, as opposed to you paying on the entire net profit. So you as an employee pay 7.65% of payroll tax, and the business pays 7.65% of payroll taxes, which is equal to 15.3%. This is great because the business gets to deduct their portion of payroll taxes as an expense. This is why it's imperative to pay yourself a reasonable salary as well as take distributions to eliminate paying higher payroll tax. So as previously mentioned, an S-Corporation is considered a pass-through entity, which means the income and expenses calculated on Form 1120-S are passed onto your individual tax return. Remember, the S-Corporation pays what? 0 federal taxes. So you pay the taxes on net income on your pass-through entity on your individual tax return. For this reason, it's critical to consider making quarterly estimated payments throughout the year to offset paying one lump sum on your individual tax return during April 15th. Quarterly payments are due April 1st, which is the first payment, second payment June 15th, third September 15th, and the fourth January 15th. Overall, being an S-Corporation is an amazing way to save money on taxes, and I hope you found this information to be helpful. Take care.